Forgot to film an intro to the video, but here we are. Here's the intro. So, yeah. Last episode we got the subframe out of the car, and it's on the floor now. So we'll just do a quick overview of that and see where we're at. Enjoy the video. Subscribe, like if you want. I don't really care. Here is the subframe. I've almost just died. Tire laces, kids. All the bushings seem to be in actual good condition. No, I'm kidding. They're all fucked. Right, so we've got these. Actually, I've not tested these because you can't. Well, I just haven't. Fine, but probably be changing them anyway. Right, so the main 4 subframe bushings. It's actually solid, but look at the state of it. So that's probably done fuck all. These ones, the metal pin is just... Don't think that should do that. This one's even worse. It seemed to weld itself back into it. Oh yeah, well, there you go. Bluetooth bushings, that's what you like. Over guy, again, wee bit of movement, not too bad-ish, but it's horrible, so be changing it. Over trailer and bushing, that is just mangled. I thought the diff was quite bad. Not the diff, sorry, the actual subframe seems to be okay. It's a lot worse on the underside, rust. I mean, look at this, it looks like a fucking... I don't even know. That is crusty though. So, I'm not sure whether we're getting a new subframe and then getting that powder coat and stuff, or if we'll try and clean this one up. It doesn't look too bad, but yeah, that'll be to be determined. Structurally, she's probably mint, but we'll see. But yeah, it's not too bad actually. All works. These lower, what are these? Camber arms, I think. These ones here, the ones that are split, I think they're called... I think people call them tongs, because they've got this weird design where... So they're... I don't know if you can see in there. So you can see you've got that kind of gap in the middle of them, so they actually spread out and almost straddle the bottom of the wheel knuckle. And there's probably a reason for that. I don't know what it is. No, in fact, they make it weak, so if you crash, that breaks first instead of all of this, for whatever reason. So these are absolutely fucked. That bushing isn't really a bushing anymore, and I'm guessing the one on the inside is the same. So replacing them anyway for either the M3 arms to get some more camber, or just adjustable ones, because these use the eccentric bolt, which I'm not really a fan of, because it doesn't give you that much range of adjustment, and also it's not the most stable thing. Like under load it can turn a wee bit, whereas if you've got like actual an arm that goes like longer and shorter, it's a lot easier to hold that in place and adjust it. So that's the plan. But yeah, other than that, all this stuff should clean up quite nicely, and then we'll try to get these bushings out, which should be easy enough. I mean, the metal insert comes out fine, and then with these, I think the best way is either set it on fire and hit it with a hammer, or you can cut the race out. So this bit's the... I forgot what this bit's called. I don't know. Metal insert, anyway, goes on your bushing, and then this is like a rubbery bit inside here, and that kind of, well, that is it, like that absorbs your movement side to side, and then in that you've got your race, which is a metal kind of barrel that pretty perfectly fits inside the actual subframe hole. So to get the rubber out, like I say, you can set it on fire, it'll kind of just become floppy and very malleable, and you can just hit it out with a hammer. The best way to get the race out is with a sawzall, just cutting one side of it and then kind of just prying it out like that. I don't have a sawzall, so probably back to good old trusty hacksaw, but we'll deal with that when it comes to it. But yeah, quite happy with that. It's a good job done. So at least now we can get on to the fun things, not removing shit. Can finally put the ratchet in Titan mode. Hello, as you can see with that time lapse, you just saw me taking off, well, starting to strip down the rear subframe. So we've got both the upper control arms on, which have the spring perches, which basically hold your springs. It's got both them off, one either side, the anti-roll bar off, and all the 6 bolts for each axle. So the diff's fully bolted as well, sorry. So just need to now separate that axle from the diff, or the axle from the diff, which is proven difficult, but we'll find a way. And then we've just got the, what do you call them? The tongs, the lower control arms or camber arms, got them to take off. And then we should have a bare subframe just with the bushings in it. So let's go. In that last clip, you saw me say I was going to try separate the axles from the diff, but upon further thought, which is a fucking rare event for me, so we can see, obviously here is where all the 6 bolts are out. Yeah, well, you saw me take them in the time lapse. But I think to separate this, because I don't actually currently have a socket to take the actual nut off, so what's going to be a lot easier is taking this arm off, that the tongs that we were talking about, and you can see kind of why they're called that then, why they're called that now, because as they split in two and kind of straddle the bushing down there. So take this one off just from here, and that means the only thing holding on the hub on this side and obviously that side is going to be the axle, at which point I'm hoping I can just pull this and it'll fall off easily. There we are, so we've got these back bolts out, they go through there, hold this arm on. This is the bottom arm, but I've flipped the subframe round so you can see better. I was going to show you, so on the bottom arms, obviously these, they have what's known as, let me turn it around, eccentric bolts, and you'll see the head of the bolt here is like an oval almost. So as this rotates, this lobe hits on this little metal like kind of ledge here, and it will actually push this further or closer away, and that's when you can kind of see it turning. That's when you get an alignment, that's almost what that's referring to, is the way your wheels interact with the road. It's probably the best way to describe an alignment. So yeah, got them off. So we'll take the top bolts off, which are actually the bottom bolts, take them arms off, and then we should be good to remove these guys, hopefully. That is the subframe mostly torn apart. Only thing I've not managed to get is these lines out. You will see me cut them because I was getting annoyed. And that's what happens when I get annoyed. Mr. Angle Grinder comes out. But no, we'll obviously just have to get new ones of these anyway, but that's fine. But I can't actually get them out of where they pass through the subframe. I'll probably have to do some Googling or some YouTube watching to see what actually comes out, because I don't know if this plastic sleeve here, if that just stays in there and this should slide through it, or if the whole thing comes out or whatever, but we'll find out. So I'll just show you what we managed to get off today. So we've got the anti-roll bar, these upper arms which go on the top side of your subframe, the spring sits in here, and then we've got these spatula things, or tongs, if you like to call them that. We've got like a wee cover on them anyway, but see, it's kind of like just 2 pieces of shitty metal, so we're going to have to replace these anyway because they are very rusty. And then we have the differential over here in the corner to be cleaned up. Both of your trailing arms, which are like also kind of the knuckle, what holds all your, well, what holds your wheel on, and all the arms. These are all gross old bushings. Then obviously you've got your drive shafts. These need to come out, but I'm just need to get a socket for this, and then hopefully we'll manage to get them out. But yeah, it's had quite a successful day, dare I say it. So just going to tidy up now, and then yeah, I'll be back in a future date. Last thing you saw would have been me taking apart the rear subframe, which is now basically bare, bar the handbrake cables, because I've not tried to take them out yet, but we'll try that today. And I'm going to also take the bushings out, or attempt to. I might need a bushing puller, but I'm going to get as far as I can without one, and fingers crossed I managed to do it, but we'll see. So I'll probably put this as a time lapse, but I'll explain how to do one of them. They're all kind of the same. Once you know how to do one, it's kind of rinse and repeat for the other ones anyway, but yeah. So I'll show you how to do one, and then just time lapse the rest, and we should hopefully be left with a bare subframe with a handbrake cables, possibly. We'll see how that goes. Right. Sure I mentioned before, but I'll just quickly recap. So on these bushings, you've got this metal inner piece, which basically your bolt goes through, and that just kind of makes where the bolt mounts to solid. So obviously this is solid, and this is solid, because it's a subframe, both metal. And between them, you have this rubber, which essentially just absorbs any vibration or like any difference in movement between your subframe, which is solid to the car, and the wheels or anything like that. So this just helps dampen any vibrations, or NVH as it's called in the industry, which is just noise, vibration, harshness. So that's basically the point in these bushings. So to get this metal bit out, mine's are quite perished, so you can see they're kind of just coming out quite easily. But to get them all the way out, I've just got a, what's this, 22mm socket on an extension, which just fits the diameter of that quite well. So I'll just place it on there, hit it with a hammer, and hopefully get these guys out, and then we'll see where we are there. There you go. That was easy enough. Like I say, they're very perished, so no surprises there. This is definitely the easy bit, but we'll get the rest of them out and then tackle the rubber bits there. Yeah, right, let's get these other three out. I'm going to leave the diff bushings till after, because they're going to take a little bit of a different approach to getting them out, but we'll see when that comes. We've got these ones out. These ones came out easy enough. I'll show them here. Just these, just metal, probably aluminium by the feels of it, I think. Interestingly, one is elongated, and I don't know if that's meant to be like that. No idea, but the other one's just circular, as far as I can tell. So, unsure on that, but anyway, these are out. Easy enough. Like I said, 22mm socket. I mean, you can use any socket that sits on this. Just in there, hammer on top, and just push it through. Comes out easy enough because these rubber bits are quite perished, as you can see. So yeah, these ones are a bit more difficult. So the size I'm using is a, see there, 32mm socket. But these rubber bits aren't as perished. There's still a little bit of movement in it, but that's not going to come out that easily. So I'm going to have to think of a better way. Good way to do this, as I'm sure I've mentioned before, is with fire, but I actually don't have a blowtorch here. My map gas can is very much out of juice. So best thing I've got is, I guess, WD-40 of possibly brake cleaner, but also don't have a lighter or anything on me. So I'm gonna figure this out somehow. But I'll be back when I've thought of a solution. Not that it was gonna be dangerous, but I don't know. Where can you get in life without danger? There you go. There's some philosophy as well for free. Yeah, right, I'll have a think and I'll get back to you. what I've done just to test is I've stabbed a screwdriver between this metal bit and the rubber bit as much as I could, hammered that in, and kind of just made a hole, and that seems to have loosened up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is get the drill a bunch of holes around here, and then just try and knock this out as we were doing before with L socket. So let's get a drill and make some holes. Well, this is seeming to be a bit more of a pig than I thought, but we'll get there. So as you can see, I've drilled lots of little holes. I started off with, this bit, which is, what size are you? Don't know, big size. It basically just fits in between here. You can see the big holes there, that's what that size is. And then that was getting really hot and molten rubber was going on me. So I switched to a smaller one, obviously less resistance. And then kind of tried to do some more. It's still held in there. These bushings are actually okay in terms of like how perished they were. They weren't actually that bad, which is why this has been a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, gonna stick at it, and I'll be back when I figure out how to do this. I mean, you can see we've not got much left. I might just try and hacksaw all the holes together almost, and that should just pop right out then. But we'll be back when that is not there. As you can see with how much I'm sweating, that was no easy task. It wasn't difficult, it was just long. That's quite hot, but fuck it, who cares? There it is. So metal bit here, touching my middle finger, and then obviously that's all the rubber that's now gone. So see, that was sitting in there. Basically you can kind of see the straight lines where I've drilled down, and then I just attacked it with a combination of things. But what got it in the end was just hitting it with a hammer, basically in the middle, pushing it through, and then it all popped out. So this is the, you can see in there, if this will focus, come on. That's, oh fuck, that's hot. The metal bit there is where your bushing sits in, so we need to clean up all this rubber off of it anyway, which is easy enough. So there's one down. Let's get this guy out. And I'll time lapse this one a bit, I think, so you can see how it goes. Right, finally. Oh, there we are. You see, just absolutely Swiss cheese the shit out of it, and then use something to hammer it with. Where's my socket going? I was using this originally, but it wasn't really doing anything, and I think maybe because there's a plate obviously between the extension and the actual socket. Maybe you'll be able to hear that maybe. That clanging is that, so I think that was maybe taking away all the energy from me hitting it with the mallet. So I ended up using trusty pry bar, which conveniently has a metal bit on the end, and stabby, stabby, stabby. And there it is. Hard bit's out, hopefully. So the rubber bit should, sorry, so we've got 4 rubber bits now, so we've got that. Obviously that one did earlier, which is looking actually okay, and then the 2 first ones I did. So I'm gonna try to take the rubber bits out now, Don't know what the method is for this, what the best way of doing it is, but I'll find out and I will share it with you. That's not too bad to take out. So we've got the actual inner rubber bushing here, sleeve out, and obviously the remaining, but I'm hoping we'll be able to just clean this up with a wire brush on a drill. That should hopefully do that quite well. These are quite easy to take out. All I did was get the old pry bar, whatever flavour you have, and pretty much stick it in as far towards the outside circumference as you can. Hit it with a mallet and it'll kind of just cut through rubber and then peel, and then just do it round the circle, and the majority of it should come out. And then after that we'll just obviously get the wire brush on the drill and try to remove as much of that rubber as we can in the prep for the new bushings, which I don't have yet. I'm still kind of torn between what bushings I should go for. And go for, well, it's either going to be poly bushings or solid bushings. Solid bushings are theoretically better in terms of there's less drivetrain loss. So let's say your engine's making 300 horsepower, you might lose 10% of that to just slack in the drivetrain. Like for instance, if you're pushing, your differential sits here, which your engine sends power to your differential, which then sends it to each wheel. If you've got 300 horsepower coming from your engine, that's going to have a rotational force on this, obviously, just as torque. And these bushings, because they're rubber, they'll obviously shift and move about whilst that torque's been applied, and that'll sap some of the power. It's often called parasitic loss, which is, yeah, pretty much this, just like almost slack in the drive line. So you can go for aluminium bushings, which are obviously solid. They will just stop that. But then you get the issues with the NVH, as I was mentioning earlier, the noise, vibration, harshness. This will be like, I don't know, dragging your ass along the road, I'm guessing. Pretty rough anyway. So probably end up just going for poly bushes, which are just kind of mixed between rubber and plastic. Pretty solid, but still have some give in them. So it's still, I don't know, drivable. Yeah, let's crack on, get these out, and then go from there. Great success! Turns out that this here, I hope you can see fine, this here is also metal. So that's probably why that was quite difficult to remove, but that's it. Let's get this guy out. Well, there we are. So we've got all four out, the actual metal bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the inner pieces here for the back. That's quite hot. I'll do it for the video. Ow. So there's metal within this rubber as well, is along with this guy, which obviously your bolt actually goes through. So there's that. So what I'll do now, and I'm hoping will be okay, is just going to wire wheel this, because this should just be rubber that's left in here. He's obviously chewed up from me drilling through it, but yeah. So what I found that works the best with this is I've got I'll find it, teeny bit drill bit, no idea what the size that is, see if I can see, 3mm drill bit to almost make pilot holes, I suppose, and then I'm just coming in with a big one. Don't know what this is, maybe 10mm, something like that. So that's all done. So what we're going to do now is just use something like this wire brush that goes on the end of the drill and just razz that around in there, and hopefully the rubber should come off. One thing I'll say that I'm not doing because I'm a genius is wear eye protection at a minimum, I'd say. because the rubber, when it flies off, well, I don't know if you can see here, it will stick to you and it is hot. So wear eye protection at least. And then if you're not in like a well ventilated place, probably wear some sort of like filtered mask. I've got this one. Mine's balls. My unit's ventilated because the door's open, so I've not done that. But if I was smart, I probably would have. So I would advise that. Be safe. Right, so find a wire brush bit that looks like it'll work well. Stick you on a time lapse, and then we'll check in once I've tried that and see how that's gone. Well, upon further testing, firstly tried this bit, which is just almost like an angle grinder kind of disc size. So obviously goes on your drill like this, spin round. This doesn't fit in the hole that well though. Well, it doesn't fit in the hole. So there's a note to this one. So I've got this one on, kind of just looks like a fancy Christmas tree, but you will be able to see, cover that light, it's just bent immediately, and this is brand new, and it's the rubber's ripping the like focus. The rubber's just ripping the bristles off. You can see at the top side. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to focus. It's not, but take my word for it. This is not the solution. So I'm going to do some thinking and see the best way to do this. Once again, the best way is heat, but I don't have any means of making fire the now. Don't know, just like a shit caveman. I'll be back with a solution. What I've done is wasted time, but I will explain so you do not, if you're crazy enough to be doing this yourself. So we've got these, so these bushings at the front are just rubber, I think. No, they're not. So these have a metal sleeve inside them as well. So if you drill all this or take all this rubber back, you're kind of wasting your time because there's a metal sleeve inside here anyway. That I guess just gives it some more rigidity. So this is that metal sleeve when it's kind of had the rubber removed from it. You need to take this out as well because that is part of the OEM bushing. Again, this helps if you've got heat because this kind of just, as it heats up, it expands and kind of releases itself a little bit. If you don't have heat, what I've done is I've just hacksawed a little corner of it here, and I'm going to do the same on this side, and that'll kind of let you, I see, hit it in just with a pry bar and a hammer. But to get this out, I think the best bet is going to be try to cut up the face of this on this side and this side, so it's essentially just two pieces, so like one bit, and then they should be able to just come out with a hammer with some persuasion. So we'll get that done, and then I'm not going to bother try to wire wheel these to clean them up. I'm just going to cut them like I'm saying on this, cut these and try hit them out as one piece, and then we should have a bare subframe other than these guys, but that could be a future problem. So let's crack on and try to get this guy out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we did it. So that's the actual subframe. So this corner now, that is bare subframe. So with the, let me just see if I've got the actual bushing. So we've got obviously that piece that touches the subframe directly. That goes in the very middle, and then where's that rubber bit went? There. So you've got this on the outside touching the subframe, and then this rubber bit inside, which also has metal in it, wherever that's went. So that sits in there, and then that guy goes through the middle of that. So, you know what, shout out BMW. They're actually quite substantial bushings for a standard part, because they're normally just kind of shitty rubber that just fall out. This was a bit of a nightmare to remove. And I created what was it, Arthur's sword? I think the one that's stuck in stone. I created my own version of that in the process, but I'll put a picture up of that now. What I did, cut slits in it with a hacksaw, the metal piece. Tried to fold them in as much as I could so there's nothing overlapping this edge. So it's all kind of sitting in the middle, and then just hammered screwdrivers through to separate a bit. Put the pry bar in against the screwdrivers, pulled till it kind of just, the metal sleeve bit just collapsed on itself, and then it just fell out. So yeah, that's how you take them out. Definitely not the right way to do it, or the best way, but that is a way. That definitely is a way. So I've only got 3 more to do. Fun. Right, I'll do these and then see where we're at. Right, so we've got our 3 cuts made. Get how many you want. I did 3 because I don't know. That's a random number. Right, so we've got 1 here, 1 there, and 1 there. And what I'm doing now, jamming the pry bar in here and hammering it to kind of bring them from that to like in a bit. And then you can see this little gap down here, just exactly where my fingernail is. I'm gonna stick a little screwdriver in there, hammer it through so it should pop out the underside. Do the same with a big screwdriver. And then what we'll do is the screwdrivers will be on the back against this surface, and then we'll jam the pry bar between this rubber bit on the inside and these screwdrivers and pry, and it should fold inwards on itself and it should fall out. So we'll get to that and I'll be back once that's done. Right, that took a while, maybe an hour and a half or something. All 4 bushings are fully out, including the fucking sleeves. So let's turn it around. Right, these guys at the fuck knows, I don't even know what orientation this is anymore. These ones here, these 2 back ones relative to me. Right, fully out, all good, nice and smooth, nice and smooth. Minor issue when this was coming out, I don't know if you're able to see, maybe this is kinked out a little bit. Should be able to just hammer that back in, maybe with some heat. Front 2, the same. Not damaged, I mean just, yeah, nice and smooth. And again, nice and smooth. So, I'm gonna go get a Burger King, because shout out that guy, and I'm pretty hungry. So, now that we've got the bushings out, thank you for watching this video of the subframe teardown. And in the next episode, what we're going to be doing is go over the actual metal on the subframe with a flappy disc, or I think I've got some of the paint stripper wheels over here. Yeah, these things here look like kind of like abrasive foam. So you're going to see if these are good, I'll use these because they don't take metal off, they just take everything else off. Or if in doubt, just the standard flappy wheel. Flappy disc, sorry, which is, what are we, 80 grit I think. So it's obviously basically just sandpaper, so that'll work well, but that will also remove metal, which isn't really what I want. Just want it to be down to bare metal and nothing more, so it's still pretty strong. So yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in episode 3, where we're going to clean up the subframe, paint it all and all that, and get it ready to go back on the car. Thank you.